Bestesh Skettis by BFM101. The mare shivered in the cold rain. She could hear her 3 remaining foals crying on her back as she tried to find some form of shelter. Anything to get out of this horrendous wind and rain. It had been many forevers since the family last ate. Many more since the mare's special friend left to find nummies and never returned. She didn't know what happened to him, but she tried to convince herself that he was happy with a new mama or dede. The alternative scared her too much to think about. The only solace were that all of her foals had started eating big nummies not long before their dede disappeared. It meant that she didn't have to worry about feeding them milkies and could ease their hunger with the little bits of food she could find while ignoring her own. Now, though, it was getting too much for any of them to handle. The mare's hunger was taking more out of her than she expected, and she'd lost one of her foals to starvation just yesterday. The family needed food, and they needed it soon.
Mama!
One of her foals, a red filly, and the mare's last daughter cried out.
No way, Sky Mama! I'm cold. I'm hungry. Want Daddy back. Mama, no, baby. Want special friend back too. But I know where he am. Need find own nummies.
The red foal huffed.
No right, Daddy.
There was a soft thump as the red filly was hit in the head by her orange brother.
Sissy no say meany things about Daddy. Daddy what family? Daddy no here. Daddy still what family, even if no rebus. Even if go forever sweepies.
As the red filly hugged her quieter, friendlier yellow brother for comfort, the mare smiled at her orange son for his dedication to his father. There was a reason he was the bestest baby, the perfect combination of her yellow fluff and his father's deep red, easily the smartest and the toughest of his siblings. He would make for a great stallion one day, maybe even a smarty friend if he wanted.
Thank you, bestest baby. Daddy still rub it all. Babies need remember that.
The yellow filly cried.
But still, I'm hungry. No one go forever sleepy like Sissy.
The mare felt her heart crush. Despite everything, she hadn't been able to save her pink baby. Now it looked like she'd be losing another baby sooner rather than later. As she turned the corner into the alley, something bright and shiny caught her eye. Embedded into the wall was some contraption. It ran along the length of the wall for about 10 or so feet, with small pieces of metal jutting out, but the vast majority of the mechanisms hidden behind the neon pink light and pretty pictures. Pictures of Skettis. The mare approached the wall, entranced by the shining lights. Her intrigue only grew when she saw the Sketty. There was Sketty behind the wall, the bestest nummies to save her and her babies.
Skettis? Mama get Skettis for babies?
The mare started pounding on the wall, trying to find a way through to the fabled Skettis, but try as she might, she couldn't get through to the delicious nummies. Had the mare been able to read, she would have seen a sign about the machine reading, "Babies for Skettis." But while she couldn't read, she could recognize that the little metal chute near the far end of the wall led to the other side, the side with the Skettis. The problem being the chute was too small for her, but just the right size for a baby. The mare turned her head and picked her orange son off her back.
Bestest baby. Damn Skettis in the wall. Need you go find them for family. Okay?
The orange colt nodded.
Bestest fun nummies for mama. Don't be scared of dummy wall.
The mare smiled and lifted him up to the chute, pushing him inside and watching as he disappeared into the darkness. At first, the orange colt was a little bit frightened. He was trapped in an unending darkness with no way of knowing where he was or which way to go. Suddenly, lights burst on, almost blinding him, and then the floor started moving as the conveyor belt pulled him along. The colt let out a small, scaredy fart, but his empty stomach kept him from shitting himself. As the conveyor belt slowly pulled him along, a soft female voice comes seemingly from nowhere.
Welcome, and well done. You have been chosen to help save your family. Nice lady! Where are you?
The colt looked around for where the voice was coming from. Unknown of its audience, the recording kept talking.
Try to remember the good times, and know that by doing this, a part of you will always be with your family. On the inside. What nice lady mean?
With a sharp jolt, the conveyor belt stopped dead.
Please stand up.
The colt did as he was told, wondering what this mysterious lady wanted with him. Before he could react, 2 razor-sharp blades flew past him, taking off all 4 of his legs in one swipe. The colt landed hard on the conveyor belt as it started moving again.
No! Ladies, I'm gone! Nice lady, save this baby! You ladies for water, please!
The colt was cut off by a strange, foul-tasting foam was sprayed down on him. The colt shook the stinging foam out of his eyes and looked down in horror as the conveyor belt was littered with his orange fluff. His entire coat had been removed by the medically designed foam, leaving the colt utterly bald across his entire body. Before he could even have a chance to cry about losing his pretty fluff, the colt was hosed down with cold water, scaring him even more and leaving him a shivering, weeping mess.
No work, meaning ready no more. We'll leave. We'll go back to Mama.
The colt got his wish, sadly, as the conveyor finally came to an end just above a bowl of plain Skettis. Of course, between the bowl and the belt was a very sharp, very nasty-looking meat grinder, and the colt was now falling right into its shredding maw. The colt farted one more time out of fear as he fell into the ripping, tearing jaws of the grinder. His bottom landed first, and he was helpless as he was slowly crushed, torn and shredded. He felt everything in his body pulled apart at the seams. His stumps where his leggies used to be, his no-no stick and special lumps, his tummy, and all his insides. As he tasted boo-boo juice in his mouth, he tried to cry out one more time for his mama, but heard nothing in return. His final thoughts were confusion as to why his beloved mother abandoned her bestest baby. A small door opened in the wall, and a steaming bowl of Sketty came out of the machine. The mare gasped and raced forward, quickly setting up her foals so they could share in the delicious food.
Bestest baby!
She cried out into the new opening.
The fun Skettis! Come back now!
The family dug into the bowls, enjoying every scrap of the meal. The soft noodles of the spaghetti, the richness of the tomato sauce, and the sweet, tender chunks of meat that were sprinkled on top. The mare and her children slurped down most of the bowl, each of them fighting over who could get the most of the sweet, meaty flakes, before she realized her orange son hadn't arrived yet. She looked back into the machine, trying to make out anything in the darkness.
Bestest baby!
The mare swallowed a large slice of meat.
I'm okay?
The silence was her answer.